Well, Donald, it's day 12. Still waiting to hear from you. You know, the last couple of days I've been talking about the scams and the illegal bullshit going on with nonprofits. Tonight I'm going to get a little further in depth with this so maybe you can see a more clear picture of what's really going on here. You know, the people that would love to control the animal world and make millions doing it will go as far as possibly murder to get what they want with this agenda. So I'm going to take you back to 1997. Started all this with a gentleman named Don Lewis, who was the husband of the now famous Carole Baskin. Back in 1997, she drew up a power of attorney for this man that a lot of people claim that it was forged. Actually, one of the witnesses came up to the sheriff's office 5 years later and admitted she lied under oath that it was forged. But in the first line of this power of attorney, it says, in case of my disappearance. Have you ever, in your right mind, heard anybody putting in their power of attorney, in case of my disappearance, instead of upon my death? According to Carole Baskin, he did put in case of my disappearance in there. And guess what? In 1997, he disappeared. Nobody has found his body since. He's never returned to get the millions that he had. So Carole got her hands on everything. The bad thing about how far this will all go is, you know, her brother was one of the sheriff's deputies that was involved in an investigation of the disappearance of Don Lewis and refused to DNA test the meat grinder. So the whole world's wondering, to get through an agenda in the animal world, would you actually grind your husband up and feed him to the tigers so there's no evidence? I'm going to show you some stuff that will put that right in your head. You see, the biggest problem I have with all this is the scams and the lies and taking money from little old people that are on a fixed budget that love animals. And they're making these donations to sanctuaries such as Carole Baskin and Big Cat Rescue and a few other sanctuaries around the country that are doing nothing but lying and scamming the public for money. First of all, she claims that she has nearly 200 big cats located at her facility, straight off of her website. Next, if you look at the USDA's inventory of what they took of her place, she only has 31 big cats. So, are we on the internet soliciting for donations to take care of over 200 big cats when there's 170 of them not even there? Out of the ones that are there, can you believe that she bought, bred, and paid for most of the cats that she's lying to the public about rescuing them? The biggest misconception behind all of this is, where does all that money go? I told you last night that they're funneling it through different nonprofit organizations in order to hide that money and use that money for other things. And tonight I'm going to pull out a little bit of proof and show you just where some of this money's going. Yep, she's donating money that is donated to take care of her animals to Wayne Pacelli with the Humane Society of the United States in the lump sum of $20,000 and $50,000 at a time to become a diamond sponsor for Wayne Pacelli. But in fact, it really is kind of just payoff hush-hush money. Okay, you'll never see the Humane Society of the United States or PETA picking on Carole. That brings me to even a deeper thing, the United States Department of Agriculture. Hundreds of people have turned in violations against Big Cat Rescue, and they have never been cited by the USDA. Florida Fish and Wildlife pulled in one day unexpected and wrote them up for 77 violations with the shoddy cages, the rust, sharp wires, trees through the cages, and everything else. Now that brings me to, why the hell do you think the USDA never did anything about this? Could it be such a crooked, corrupt organization that the inspectors or the Eastern Office is taking a payoff to turn their head and look the other way? That's the kind of stuff we're asking you to stop, Mr. Trump. Get some IRS investigations going and figure out where all these little old people on fixed incomes money's going to that would love to help animals. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is get online and look at where they live. One of Carole's residences is worth $820,000. But her cats that the money's being donated for are living in little wire rusty cages. Now the whole point behind all this is to wake you politicians up and let's see if we can make a difference. Because people are donating their hard-earned money to take care of animals, and people such as Carole is turning around and paying people to write comments on the news articles to try and further her agenda to pass laws against private owners here in America. I'm going to show you a couple straight off her website where she's offering $5, $2, $1 to make an alias account. She's even teaching you how to set up a fake account to make comments on news articles and different laws and send stuff to different politicians. And if you can take a photo snip of that and prove it to her, she'll pay you up to $5 per comment. Now, where the hell did that come in of helping to take care of animals with the money that was raised through a nonprofit organization to exactly that, take care of animals? We've been asking you the same 6 questions for the last 12 days, and I'm going to ask you the same 6 again tonight. And here they are. Here in America, we have a war in the animal world and the animal rights people in order to take our rights away. And 62.8 million people here in America own pets, and we'd like to know your comments and your concerns about a few issues. Question number 1. How do you feel about 501c3 organizations here in America that are scamming the public for hundreds of millions of dollars to take care of animals, and none of it goes to the animals? 90% of it goes to lobbyists to pass laws to further their agenda. 2, it seems like terrorist is the #1 topic anytime you turn the news on anymore. Are you aware that our own government, the United States Department of Agriculture, declared PETA a #1 domestic terrorist in the United States on November the 30th, 2009, and they're still a nonprofit tax organization here in America? How can you be a terrorist and get a tax break from your own country right here in America? 3, we'd like to know your opinion on how you feel on online bullying, not only of children, but adults, in the name of free speech, in order to bash somebody and ruin their reputation and their good name, only to make money for yourself and get away with it under the Declaration of Free Speech. 4, we'd like to know, how come us Americans that own our own property, own our own houses, and pay taxes on them do not have the right to have our own pets that we choose to have on our property or in our homes? Number 5, do you not think that we Americans have the right to assume the risk of our profession, no different than a cop, a firefighter, an oil rig worker, or anyone else that has the assumption of the risk of their professions? It is our right. And please, if you become president, give us back our right. And number 6, one of the most important, and this kind of touched on your speech at the Oklahoma State Fair about things being made in other countries and taxing them when they come into America. Do you not believe that it should be a right that any product made from the rainforest or an animal's habitat somewhere in the world should be taxed in order to be sold in America, and that tax money go back to helping rebuild the habitat and the rainforest so some of these animals don't become extinct in the futures to come? I'm Joe Exotic, and along with 62.8 million other people, we'd like to know if you have any answers for any of this. And you wouldn't believe the support you would get. But this war on American citizens and their animals has got to come to a stop. Well, that's it for tonight, Mr. Trump, people of America, all of you politicians. If I can't teach you in the next 393 days of the corruption that's going on with nonprofits and the animal world, there's no hope for any of us. I'm Joe Exotic. I'll see you tomorrow for episode 13.